online 100.5, 1450, WGNSSports.com, and BigGTV.
The Coaches Show is brought to you by State Farm agents Andy Womack, Dana Womack, Celeste Middleton, Alex Williams, Ron Reeves, and Emerson Williams. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. And we're back on the Coaches Show, joined by Oakland head coach Kevin Creasy. How you doing this morning, Coach?
Doing well.
All right, Oakland Patriots with a big 49-0 win over Stewart's Creek last night, and it was a good night for the Patriots last night.
Yeah, had senior night, had a bunch of parents and family of our seniors there. They got to watch a good ball game, and I thought our seniors performed well. I thought a lot of our seniors that people may not recognize as 4-year guys, they made some plays for us and made huge plays because it was a pretty special night, getting recognized, getting their parents out there with them and stuff. It was pretty cool. And then, like I said, most of the plays last night were made by our seniors.
Yeah, and that's a big thing, and it looked like a lot of special teams plays last night. Craig Tudd had 2 punt returns for touchdowns, and then Marcus Earl had a punt block for a touchdown. Yeah,
Marquise, coming off an injury early in the year, he's back to playing DB for us, making great plays, and then he just happened to catch that block punt on the run and goes in for a touchdown. Craig Tutt had 3 huge returns. One of them was called back for a holding call, but the other 2 weren't called back, and they were both touchdowns, and he just made some tremendous adjustments on the run, I guess you could say. You don't really coach yet. He kind of did all that on his own, but, I thought our punt block team put on some pressure, but then set up a beautiful wall, made some good blocks, and, give those guys a lot of credit. Marcus Bryson is our special teams coordinator. He does a great job every week, and had a couple special team touchdowns the week before. So that's something we've emphasized over fall break, and we're reaping the benefits of it now. Yeah,
that's big when you can get points on special teams. You had your 2 quarterbacks have done really good this year for you, and Dante Cameron last night had passed for 67 yards and a touchdown, and rushed for 25 and another touchdown. And you want to talk about your quarterbacks?
Yeah, the last couple of weeks, we haven't had many offensive snaps, but that's good, trying to keep everybody healthy. And those guys, whenever they are getting in, they're performing well. And, they're both competing against each other still. And both of them, really good dual threat guys, can run it, can throw it. And then, like I said, as long as they're competing with each other, it's good. So, like I said, the competition makes the world go round. And at the end of the day, we've got 2 quarterbacks that can go in and do whatever we ask them to do.
And you passed in the ball a little bit last night. You had 5 different receivers catch a ball. Joel Wyatt, Will Millsap, Reese Smith, Justice Haggard, and Matthew Moore all had receptions last night for you. And it just goes to show you, you got multiple ways you can do it on offense.
Yeah, there's a lot of guys out there that are great catching the ball, really dangerous whenever they get the ball in their hands. So, we try to find new and improved ways to kind of get the ball to them every week. But those guys, like I said, ever since we've been throwing 7-on-7 with them, they've shown that they can catch balls in traffic. They can catch the intermediate route, the short route, and all those guys can go deep and catch a ball. So with the arm talent we got, we like to throw it deep every now and then. And then whenever people back off of us, it gives us underneath stuff. So that's kind of what happened last night. And like I said, a lot of credit to the O-line. I thought the quarterbacks had plenty of time to throw it, and they protected them well. And then, of course, you still got to be able to catch it. And then what you do after you catch it, that's on you. And I thought they did a pretty good job last night.
They did. And, I think your hat this year has been on your defense. Another shutout for them last night. And, that side of the ball has really been elite all year. Heading into this big Battle of the Borough matchup this week with Riverdale. And, your defense, once again, another shutout.
Yeah, absolutely. Coach Watson defense has come up big a lot of games this year. And, he makes it tough on a 16-year-old kid out there playing quarterback, that's for sure. And, with all the different things he's doing, he's got a lot of good players over there that are making big plays for us. And, unfortunately, I thought if there's one thing we needed to improve on, I thought we dropped about 3 potential interceptions. We dropped 3 against Rockville, I thought, and ended up with 4. But still, I thought
yeah.
7 would have been a whole lot better than 4. And then, of course, I think those kind of things, if you drop them, in these games, next week that would really be a tough pill to swallow if they hit you in the hands and you don't come down with it. I don't get that whole, I don't buy into that philosophy of, they can't catch us when they play defense. No, those guys, they can catch. They just got to focus on it, and they can turn a whole game around if they can just catch some of these balls that, should have been intercepted.
And sometimes your eyes get so big, you can see that end zone in front of you, and it just, falls out of your hands.
That's right.
But let's talk about the Battle of the Borough. Coming up this week. It's the longest rivalry in Rutherford County, and it's a game everybody circles every year on the calendar. This year it happens to be on a Thursday night, night before Halloween, and we expect, obviously you expect a monster crowd again Thursday night in the Battle of the Borough.
Yeah, that's what it's supposed to be about. Both teams battling it out, trying to get the region championship, and it should be a huge crowd Thursday night. Doesn't interfere with Halloween. So the weather's turned great. It was perfect weather last night for a ball game. So we expect a huge crowd. Get there early, buy the tickets early, get you a good seat early, and should be a great ball game.
And, I should mention, too, I think with your win last night that, you're going to have a piece of the region championship no matter what, and I think you're probably going to end up going in this playoffs as the 1 seed. But, winning this Battle of the Borough and finishing off the right way and setting yourself up for a playoff run, it's got to be on your minds, and you can't really look over, look to the playoffs the week after that. It's all about Riverdale this week.
Yeah, there's a scenario where we'd finish second. It could happen. You look at the Blackman-Siegel score, if Blackman loses to Rockville and then we lose to Riverdale, then, we're a second seed. So we control our own destiny. We've always known that, and we've always been, kind of keeping up with ourselves, not keeping up with everybody else. We can't rely on anybody else to do whatever. We got to take care of our business, and our business is we need to finish undefeated. We need a 10-0 season. There's not been a lot of 10-0 seasons in Oakland history, no matter how much history we've had. There's always been a slip-up or two a lot of times. So our seniors realized that going 10-0 is something special. 15-0 is a heck of a lot better.
Yes.
But
yes.
10-0 is pretty tough to come by when you're in our region that we play in.
Yeah, it is, and it's just there's not many perfect seasons, and you have a chance to do that this year. And one kid that we talked a little bit about, but I'd like to talk a little bit more about is Joel Wyatt. He's been a real good player for you this year, and does it both ways, and just really been a really impact player for your program this year.
Yeah, heck of a player, great athlete. Just can do it all. Stewart's Creek had a great athlete covering him last night, and I thought he held his own and did a good job, and then turned right back around on defense and made some tremendous plays, and very physical too. A lot of times you look at a guy that plays receiver, you think maybe he's not as physical as everybody else on the field, but Joel is just as physical as anybody we have, and he's a physical blocker, and he's a very physical tackler, and people going over the middle have watched film on him. They know that. So a lot of times they're not looking at the football either. They're looking to find out where Joel is. And, that's one of those things where he's an impact player. He may not, have the interception or the big hit on that particular play, but he may be responsible for those guys dropping the ball, because there's some quarterbacks that are throwing the ball over the middle that maybe should think twice about it.
Yeah, and he's just a special kid too.
Yeah, no doubt. Great kid, comes to work every day, great attitude, harder on himself than any of us coaches could ever be on him. So with that kind of attitude, I mean, he's got, a lot of potential, and the sky's the limit for him.
And, we're approaching Halloween, almost playoff time for football, and as you get ready for that, obviously you're focused on Riverdale and wanting to finish that undefeated regular season. But how do you feel your team's ready for when you do get to that playoff run? And you think y'all are battle tested? You played a tough schedule. You feel pretty good about where your team is right now?
Yeah, for the most part, week 10 of the season, we're about as healthy as you can be. We still got some bumps and bruises, looking for Mike Brown to come back and play this week. And, if he's back, then, we're back to 100%. Ultimately, that's what you want. You want some momentum because you want to play clean and you want to, play with a win right there at the end of the season and get momentum going in the playoffs. But the most important thing is probably being healthy. And that's the worst part about playing Riverdale is, it's a very physical game every year. And they go into the playoffs and we go into the playoffs where we just had, 48 minutes of a real physical football game. And, unfortunately, I think TWSAA kind of set it up that way. I like the random draw, and if it draws out where it's week 10, then it's just meant to be. Yeah. But ultimately, you can't really be factoring in who you think is going to be playing for a region championship. At the end of the day, that can change real quickly, and just so happens that, this year Blackman beat Riverdale. So, things can change real quick. But ultimately, I think it's really good for the fans. I think it's pretty neat that we're playing week 10 with, everything on the line, and then that kind of gets you a playoff type atmosphere. Hopefully both student sections, come to the ball game and get loud. And then, of course, our fan bases, we want those guys, in the seats early. And like I said, playoffs pretty much start this week.
Yeah, it's right here. I mean, the best time of the year. Fall weather last night, you can kind of feel it, and it may get you excited.
Yep, no doubt.
All right, Coach, we appreciate it, and good luck this week.
Appreciate it.
All right, the Coaches Show is brought to you by Ideas Tees, who will be happy to help you fulfill all of your imprinted apparel, embroidery, and advertising specialty needs. Find out more at ideastees.com.